Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to install these LED turn signals on your grill. I just recently cut my fenders, so it took away the stock ones, which are here. Took these away, so to legally drive on the street you need some turn signals in the front. So I bought these at Harbor Freight. They were like $7 a piece. I bought two. They're submersible, come with a little grommet. So yeah, I'm going to show you how to put those in there. What you're going to need is a drill with a 2 1/4 inch hole saw, metal cutting hole saw. I made the mistake of getting a wood cutting hole saw first, and it destroyed it. You can see these teeth here are sharp. These teeth are not anymore. They were just as sharp as the metal cutting saw, but I messed them up by using them on metal. By using this one on metal, I just didn't even think to check to make sure it was a metal cutting hole saw. So that was like 12 bucks wasted. So don't make the same mistake I did. You're gonna need a drill, a 2 1/4 inch metal cutting hole saw, some shrink wrap, the actual LED turn signal. Like I said, they're from Harbor Freight. They were about $7 a piece. 9 LEDs, submersible. They're great. You're gonna need either a Christmas tree bit or the same size drill bit that comes in the arbor on the hole saw. You're gonna need some wire strippers, a lighter, some painter's tape, some solder, a soldering gun, some scissors, some WD-40, and you don't need gloves, but they definitely help. You don't want to get those metal shavings in your hands while you're doing it. They itch really bad and hurt really bad, and they get under your skin. So it's a good idea to wear gloves, but like I said, you do not need them. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, you need to measure out where the actual light. I don't know if you can see it there, but there it is. There's my dot. I used a center punch to make that. I can't remember the actual dimensions. I just kind of measured up and over measured up from the bottom and over from the side of the grill a certain amount. I don't remember what it was though, like I said. Sorry, I can't give those to you. I'll maybe put them in the description, measure them real quick. But, so you're going to want to measure that out and then center punch it so that your drill bit doesn't walk. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your Christmas tree bit and drill out that hole. So let me do that real quick. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to mask all around this where you're going to be drilling your hole saw with painter's tape so that your paint doesn't get all messed up when you're drilling into it. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so I masked that off. Now we're going to use our drill. I'm going to change it to a hole saw real quick. So now we're going to use our hole saw to drill out our hole. Alright, so after you drill your hole, you can take your painter's tape off. You can see it. Be really careful. All these metal shavings, they'll get in your skin. It hurts really bad and itches, so it's just not fun. Also be careful with this rim. Like I said, use some gloves to kind of get all the little burrs out. If you have some sandpaper, like a flap wheel or something like that, you can get in there and kind of smooth it out a little more. I'm not going to do that because I don't have a flap wheel or anything like that. So yeah. You want to make sure you be real careful with this. It's going to be really hot and really sharp. so don't cut yourself. Also, when you're cutting the hole, make sure to spray your hole saw in the hole with plenty of WD-40 to keep the friction down. That'll just make it go a lot smoother and cool it down a little bit. So, yep. Now probably the hardest part is dealing with all this, your loom for your blinkers. What you're going to want to do is cut off this little plastic mount thing that goes in the holes and holds it to the fender well. You want to cut that off and kind of strip down the loom down to these joints. That way you can get to the wires. Alright, so once you strip them down, you're gonna have something that looks like this. And this first one here by my thumb is for the actual blinker that was in the box in the front of the fender. This one here by my index finger is for the fog lights. And this one here, this long one, is for the running lights that go on the side of the fenders that also double as blinkers. And because my blinker that I bought is only a 2-wire LED, we're going to be using this one instead of this one. If you have a 3-wire, then you should use this one because it also will work as a running light. But since we're only using this one, it's only going to work as a blinker. And that's fine with me. I don't really care. So what we're gonna do is cut these about halfway. That way, if you ever need to put these back on, like if you ever want to go back to stock, I guess I don't really have the option of that. But if you, for some reason, are doing this and you still have fenders, you can cut them about halfway. That way, you can still solder them back together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to cut them all about halfway. Alright, so now you should have something that looks about like this. Be sure to remember which ones are which before you cut them. This is the one we're going to use. It's kind of a red and a black and yellow wire. And these we're going to shrink wrap shut so that they don't get messed up since they're open leads. So I'll show you how to do that. So when you're doing this, we're going to shrink wrap these together. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your shrink wrap and you're going to slide it over. You're going to slide it over the wire so that you can fold a little bit of it back just like that. And then you can let it unfold. Just make sure that it stays a little bit past where the wires stop. Then you're going to heat it up and let it shrink. Then before it totally cools down, be careful because it's still going to be hot, but you can fold it over and sometimes it'll stick like that. There you go. Now take another piece, put it over that, push it all the way down to where that starts to come out just a little bit. It gets just to the end of this bigger piece. Then shrink wrap that down. Get it hot so it shrinks down. And you're good. And do it to the other one. And they'll look like that. Nice and sealed up. So then we're going to go to these wires that we have here. I already stripped them down. You're going to want to strip them down maybe an inch. That way you can twist them up with your with the wires for your light. So then you're going to want to strip these sides. This one, the positive, comes with a little ring terminal. I am just going to cut that off if I can find my scissors. There they are. I'm just going to cut that off. So now you're going to want to get your wire strippers here and strip about an inch off of that too. And do the same to your positive. Well, that's not quite an inch. Alright. Then twist them up nice and neat. Now you've got these stripped and these stripped. So this black and yellow wire on your Jeep is your negative, and this kind of peach color is your positive. So on your lights, the white is the positive. So I'm going to twist those together. Just like that. Now twist the black ones together. Just like that. Try to make sure there's no pointy ends sticking out. Oh! Forgot to shrink wrap. So I'm going to take those back off. I'm going to get some shrink wrap. Put it over the wires here on the light and just slide it. Just slide it all the way down. That way it doesn't get hot while we're soldering. And do that to both sides. Alright, so now that we have shrink wrap on both wires here, now we can twist up the open leads. Like I said, try to get it as smooth as possible. Try not to get any like stray wires just sticking out. It'll kind of be hard to get the shrink wrap over if you don't get it smooth. Alright. So now that we have those twisted together, we're going to solder them together. You really want to try to solder these because they're going to be outside and in the weather. And twisting and taping or wire nuts, or even really those little tubes that you crimp over the connections. Can't remember exactly what they're called. Those are all real, in my opinion, not as good as shrink wrapping and soldering. So I'm going to shrink wrap and solder, or I'm going to solder these, and then I'll be back. Alright, so I've had my soldering iron heating up for a while. So now I'm going to go ahead and solder these together. It's really hard to do without this light sitting on the ground. Having to hold up the soldering iron and the solder and the light. Alright. That's about good. Be careful because it'll melt. Damn, it's hot. It'll melt the little rubber insulation on the wires. Hope this is in focus. Alright. Now I'm going to do the positive lead here. Damn it, it's really fucking hot. Fuck. Alright. So, now that I've got those soldered on there, I'm going to take my shrink wrap here, push it up around this, try to get that in the middle of the shrink wrap, and then I'm going to heat those up. See if a lighter works better. Yeah. Alright. Alrighty. So now that that's done, you can test out your blinker. So I'm gonna kind of just let this hang. Hopefully you can see if it blinks. I'm gonna go turn on the blinker. Good deal. It is working. Alright. So now that that's done, you're gonna want to unplug this from the back of the light, and remember that where the wires come out of the plug is this little, you can see this little gap down here. So just remember the direction that that goes on. So I'm gonna pull that off. Damn, if I can get it off. There we go. Alright, there should be a little grease in there. Don't worry about it. Try to keep as much of it in there as possible. So now we're just gonna put this to the side. So now, what you're left with is this neat and tidy loom, and you're gonna run this through the grill. That way, our light will be in the hole. So, what you're gonna wanna do, there should be a little gap in between here. So your loom comes out here, and you're gonna wanna run it through this gap. So push that through there. And I'm gonna get a better view in a second for y'all. Alright, so let's see. Maybe I'm not gonna get a better view. Alright, so there's this plastic shroud here. Keeps the radiator clean. Well, clean-ish. Keeps dirt from getting up into your radiator. You're gonna wanna try to push that forward. You can see the connection right there. It's poking through. You're gonna wanna push it up in that hole you can see up there into the grill. This is really hard to do with one hand. So hopefully, let's see what I'm talking about. No, you can't see it. Alright, I'm just gonna do this and then I'll get back to y'all when I did it. Alright, so now that it's through, I'm gonna show y'all how I did that. I just pushed the connection through this gap here, and I stuck my hand in between the shroud here. That way you can get in there. I don't know if you can see my finger. It's coming through here. It's kind of dark in there, but that's inside the grill, and you can just kind of guide the wire up through that. I'm going to show you where that wire is coming out right there. So then what you're going to want to do is pull the whole loom into the grill. Alright, so now that I've got this whole loom pulled through, it's going to take some persuasion. These are some kind of odd shapes to get through some of the holes that are in here. So you just want to get this tucked away inside the grill. That way it's not just hanging out here in the way of a tire or anything, so it's not going to get crushed. So kind of push some of that back in there so that you have just a little bit of this hanging out. Now you're going to want to separate your light from your grommet. So I'm going to just push it right out. And you can see here there's a lip. See if I can get it. There we go. There's a lip in there. You want to get that lip behind the hole. So that lip is going to be on the inside of the grill. So let me do that. Alright, so once you get that on, you're going to take your connections, put them back on the way they were. See, there should be a gap on one side of the connections. That's where the wires are going to come out. So just like that. Stick them on there. Make sure they're nice and all the way on. Then you're gonna feed this back through a little bit. Push your light in. Make sure it's in all the way. And you're done. So just do that for both sides and it should come out looking like that. Some CJ style kind of turn signals on a TJ. That way you can drive legally, well, almost legally, with no fenders. So yeah, I've got some more videos on my channel. If you liked this one, check out my other ones. The Jeep I get new mods at least like once every week or so. So I try to do an update, try to do a video at least once a week. So check it out, like, subscribe. See y'all next time.